Hello everyone. Today we are going to create a data asset that contains all the default abilities, and then the reason to do that is here in our game we have 3 different characters and we can have different kinds of abilities for each character. For example, if we consider the base attack, let me go here. Now this character, here we have this base attack. Right now I only have one kind of a base attack, this one. But since we have, if we are to implement different characters, these different characters will have different base attacks. So because of that, instead of activating the abilities through the class reference, I'm gonna change everything to activate through tags, so that using the same tag the characters will have different abilities. So three different base attacks. Three characters will have 3 different base attacks, but still it will be activated by the same tag. And also here we can customize the default ability set for each character. So right now I'm using the same one for all the characters, but we can have different ability sets and assign it to different characters, so we can achieve, like, we can give them different kinds of attacks or different kinds of blocking behaviors, things like that. So yeah, this is what we are going to work on today. Right, so before we get started, let me remind you that this is the full playlist of this project. You can watch all these episodes and implement everything by yourself. Everything is implemented from scratch and explained. So yeah, you can do the same thing I have done here by following this. And also, if you choose to become a member, you can access the project files of this project and all of the thousands of projects I have done in my channel. So to the date, there are over 2000 videos. For each video, project files are available, so feel free to check it out. I'll leave the links in description below. And yeah, now let's get started with today's episode. Okay, so here under Turn Based Combat, PP, Gas, this is where I have all my abilities. And right now these are childs of gameplay ability class, but I want to create a parent gameplay ability so that I can define some common attributes for the abilities that I'm going to use in my game. So such as like should be activated by once at the granted time, this like that. For example, death ability should be activated from the beginning, so that whenever the health level drops, the character dies. So yeah, gameplay ability blueprint, and I'm gonna call it, so here this should be a child of gameplay ability, and I'll call it 𝐂𝐴𝐶LM base ability. Now here I'm gonna add a variable activate. By default this should be false. Okay, now let me close this and let me open all these abilities, because I want to make the parent of all these abilities, the parent is the currently created base CLM base ability. So if I go to class settings, here I can set base CLM base ability, GACLM base ability. Compile, this is revive, react also, this ability, base ability. Okay. All right. Now, in the data, I'll create a new dataset blueprint. Primary dataset, I'll choose this as the parent and I'll call it DAC because this is a data asset class. Ability abilities. I think I should use this also, DAC. Okay. Now, here, let me open this. I'll add a variable. Let's call it default abilities file, and this should be from the type of base ability, 𝐂𝐚𝐭𝐫𝐭 base ability, and I'll change this to class reference and array. Okay, now I'll create a data asset and I'll choose DAC abilities. I'll call it DA default abilities. Okay, now under this, I'm gonna add base attack because that should be a default ability, and not that, death, dodge, react, and revive. Right, now for death, I want to mark it as an ability that should be activated by default. So here, auto activate. I'll do that. Okay, now let me open my character blueprint, and here I'll add a variable. Let's call it default abilities. DA DAC abilities object reference, and here I have the default abilities. Okay, now if I go to the begin play, here we already have this GA death give ability and activate once. So I'll collapse this section into front default abilities. Okay, now here we can access default abilities, validated get, and get default abilities. So here I'll get the ability system view ability, and this I'll run a for each loop. Okay, this, and this is, let's pass the ability. Also here I'll get default, get class defaults, and here we have the auto activate variable that we just added into the base class, and then using that, if this is true, I'll call this try activate ability. Yes. Okay, now the error. Oh, this. Right. Now, we don't need this. Let's delete that. So we don't, for example, here I have this perform based attack. Here what I'm doing is give ability and activate once. And here I have this class reference. So now we don't need that. Here, let's assign an asset tag. Let's add a new tag, ability combat base attack. I'll add that and assign it as the asset tag. And then here, instead of giving the class itself, we can pass try activate abilities by tag. Now the important thing here is we can have multiple different here so yeah, we can have multiple different base attack abilities depending on the character, and all we have to do is we can have different data assets assigned to the characters. So if I make this public, here we can change the assigned ability set for each character. For now, this one, yeah, this default abilities. For now, I have only one default abilities, but for each character, you can have different ability set assigned, and they are with the same base attack tag. You can have different kinds of base attacks. So different characters will have different base attacks. So, but you don't need, since you are calling or activating it by the tag, it doesn't matter what is the ability class assigned to the character. Whatever the assigned base attack will be performed through the same perform attack function. So that's the good thing about breaking, not having to use this class reference and activating it through the tag. That's the good thing about that system. So yeah, now let's test and see if everything is working. Okay. Yeah, see, I can perform the base attack, and everything else is working. Yeah, now just like this, I will assign a tag for all of these abilities that I have. This is base attack. I have this death, dodge. For all these abilities, I'm gonna assign asset tag, and in all the places that I have activated these abilities, I'm gonna replace it with the try activate ability by tag. So I'm gonna do that, but I don't think I need to show that step here because I did it only for this base attack, and it's gonna be the same for all other abilities as well. So I'm gonna do that offline, but yeah, that's all I want to do in this episode. Okay, so thanks for watching. As always, updated project files will be available for download here in the Patreon page. Link would be in the description below, and let me know if you have any questions in the comments. See you in the next episode. Goodbye.